Greetings. My name is Stephen Feuerstein. I'm the PLSQL evangelist for Quest Software, and I've put together a series of videos to talk to you about what I call practical best PLSQL, best practices for the real world. And the idea here is I certainly want to talk to you about the right way to write code in the world of PLSQL programming, but I also want to make sure that the advice I give you is something you can practically apply pretty much out of the box. So I'm going to be supplementing my ideas with scripts and with utilities and tools, some commercial, some freeware, that will help you get going on applying these best practices. Well, why would you listen to me? How about a little bit of background? First of all, I'm pretty much a self-taught programmer. Way back in 1979, I took 3 computer programming courses at university, all 101 courses. And from there, I've pretty much taught myself. In 1987, I joined Oracle in the pre-sales organization and also did some development. And I stayed there for 5 years. And then in 1995, I published my first book on PLSQL, and that was pretty popular. So I pretty much, since then, have been doing a lot of reading, writing, and studying of PLSQL. And in 2001, I joined Quest Software as their PLSQL specialist, evangelist, and I'm still there. So why listen to me? Because I am totally obsessed when it comes to PLSQL. I wrote my first book, again, back in 1995 and never stopped. I've written a total of 10 different books on PLSQL. I pretty much spend all of my time reading, writing, studying, playing with the PLSQL language. You've got real jobs. You have to get up in the morning, go to work, and have somebody tell you what to do. And so it's hard for you to find that time to do the enjoyable exploration into a language like PLSQL. So I'll do it for you. Hopefully you can benefit from my experience. But I'm more than an author on PLSQL. And I wanted to reassure you that you'll be listening to somebody who also writes production code. Quest Code Tester is a relatively new product from Quest, which will help you automate the testing of PLSQL code. And I'll be talking about that in one of my videos in this series. And I am the main back-end programmer. So I've been spending a lot of time over the last 2 or 3 years writing production quality code. And it reminded me that no matter how hard it is to write books, and it's not exactly easy, it's much harder to write production quality software. So my hat off to all of you who do this day in and day out for years and years. But I do have that experience to back up my own suggestions for writing high quality code. Now, about this video series, what I've decided to do is basically present my best practices presentation online, but do it in a series of short videos on different topics. So rather than you having to watch an hour-long or 2-hour-long presentation, you could pretty much pick whichever part of the series you'd like to see. Note that the videos are not intended to be comprehensive trainings or coverage of the topics. What I mostly want to do is make you aware of issues and ideas and offer practical tips and tools to do the right thing. And you can complement or follow up on what you see in these short video series with information from my books, Oracle documentation, etc. And you can either proceed from start to finish in this series of videos. You can pick a topic about which you're most interested. Visit as often as you'd like. We'll probably be adding new videos over time, replacing them, updating them, and so on. Finally, all the files, all the code that I reference in these different videos can be found in the demo zip file, which is a part of the PLSQL Obsession website, which Quest has put together on their ToadWorld site. So ToadWorld.com is a portal for all things Toad related and also for PLSQL developers, whether or not you use Toad. And if you go to /sf, you'll find my page, PLSQL Obsession. Let's take a look. So here's the PLSQL Obsession site, and you can get information about my training, seminars, presentations, all sorts of different resources. I encourage you to visit and visit often. You can even see what I looked like before the world of PLSQL. So that's a bit different. Before, after. So spend 15 years with PLSQL and you lose all your hair. Well, what you should do is click on Trainings, Seminars, and Presentations. It'll take you to my page where you can download any of my different PowerPoints. So for example, Practical Best Programming is essentially the same PowerPoint you'll be seeing in my various videos. Lots of different best practice talks, PLSQL new features, etc. And you have my permission to download all of these trainings, any of them, distribute them within your own company, do your own internal trainings with my materials. In addition, click on the demo zip link, and you can download about 2,000 scripts that contain all the different things I've been building over the years that are demonstrate techniques, analyze performance, or maybe are reusable code that you can plug directly into your applications. But remember, If you decide to use my code, which is perfectly fine, it's up to you to make sure that it's fully tested and bug-free in your application environment. So these videos are nothing more than a starting point. Hopefully they'll give you some really great ideas. You can complement those by visiting the PLSQL Obsession site, downloading more trainings, more code, take quizzes, etc., etc. So I hope you can take full advantage of all of this stuff. So what's the agenda for this video series? Well, first of all, I'm going to start with some general thoughts on writing software. And from there, we'll delve into the practicalities. First of all, at the high level, building applications on a shared foundation of code. And the items that we'll get into here are, first of all, how to best apply naming conventions and coding standards. Then we'll take a look at spatification, aiming for a single point of definition for everything you write in your code. Managing exceptions with a shared utility rather than everybody doing it themselves, and how and why you should break your addiction to SQL. That's right, I think you're all addicted to the SQL language inside PLSQL, and I want to help you break that addiction. The next major section, also composed of 4 elements, is a best practice workflow for program construction. So rather than dealing with application level standards and components, we'll drill down into individual program construction. And I'll talk about testing. In other words, stop guessing, gee, does my code work? I don't know, but thoroughly objectively test it instead, and how to do that, practically speaking. Say no to spaghetti code, say yes to extreme modularization. 2 heads are better than 1. We'll talk about the importance of reviewing code and some techniques for doing that. And finally, I'll finish up with some suggestions on how to improve or turbocharge the performance of your PLSQL code. So we've got a lot to cover, and that's why I broke it up into a lot of small pieces. But we'll finish up this section by diving into those general thoughts on writing software.